So y'all get back in here, get back in here. So yeah, I want to talk specifically about the Haley Bailey situation and DDG. So, and you know what? I'm gonna make two comparisons. I'm gonna make so. First thing, I want to say this up front. Because I was talking to BGS basically during the art stream, and that's when we kind of, had a back and forth about the class thing. And my thing is that bottom line, here's the bottom line, because I'm not doing the back and forth shit, to be honest, because again, the problem with a lot of folks is they need people to validate their opinions on things, and I don't need that. I'm putting the shit out there. This is what I think at the end, and then we're on a panel. I'm putting what I think out. Now, if people think that's right or it's not, they have every right to say it's not right, and they say it's just this. But I don't have this thing where I'm married to what it is. That being said, bottom line, what it really sounds like is being said is that if what BGS is saying, if it was up to him, he would have told DDG, don't have a kid with her because you're not in the same class. That's really what that comes down to. And the shit about her thinking that she's better than him, if she can believe that, that doesn't make it true. And then it's like the argument of, well, she can replace him, or she can get him with a better guy that's quote unquote in her class. Well, we're defining classes. We are defining people that are in the entertainment industry, and not just in the entertainment industry, are making at least like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year. Because her income potential is supposed to be way higher than that. So just because you have, because understand, this is why Kevin always separated Hollywood. This is why his preference was to do that. Because if we're going to be very honest about it, Hollywood is different. Because Taraji P. Henson, sure, she has connections, but Taraji P. Henson ain't got paper like that. And let's keep it real. A lot of these women are, if they know they got connections, they are not in the business of being used unless you're Caucasian. They are not in that business, and they're going to feel like they're owed. For example, take Mary J. Blige and her husband. I don't think her husband was in the music industry before she got with her, but he ended up getting his pound of flesh from her via the merit system. So I'm not, so my thing about it is, when it comes to just that particular situation, because understand that technically Tory Lanez was in a higher tier than Megan Thee Stallion. If you want to keep it all the way 100, Cardi B, in her mind, was in a lesser tier than Offset. That's why a lot of these chicks try to tie to these dudes. So connections only go so far, but I'm not here to have an overall conversation about it. I'm here to talk about that particular situation. And in this particular situation with DDG and Haley Bailey, at the end of the day, she had kids with him. He has a right as a father. I know he knows that because he has said that. So I'm not here to put words in people's mouth. He has said that even with his own personal situation. Like BGS has said that with his own grandson. So I already know he cares about the rights of the father. What she's doing, and people want to then say, well, we don't know the situation. Well, the truth is, we don't know the situation with anybody except what publicly comes out. So most people don't know the situation that LeBron sleeps with white women. So, I mean, we can play that back and forth, but ultimately, this is what we do know. We do know she had a kid with him. We do know that in her age right now, it was not strategically smart in her career and what she's trying to do with her career to have a child with anybody, let alone anybody. She chose to have a kid with him. She chose to do it out of wedlock, and she had every ability to, she could have terminated that pregnancy. Shout out to J Bay with the $20. That's what we do know for a fact. We do know that they were cool until all of a sudden they weren't. We also, that's what we do know. Do we know who broke up with who? Not 100%, but clear 100%. This is what we do know. And we know that was ultimately her decision. His decision was to nut in her. Her decision was to have a kid. That's what we do know for a fact. That being said, do we know if he put his hands on her? No, we do not. No, we do not. But then let's really define putting his hands on her. Grabbing her is not abuse. I'm not saying he should do that, but that's not abuse. When we say abuse, we talk about whooping your ass. I want to be really clear and define what that is. Meaning, has he punched her at all? Has he at all? Because yes, that's abuse. Has he punched her in her face? That would be worse, even though at all would be abuse. Saying we were both wrestling, that is not him abusing you. Because who initiated that shit? And if you're willing to admit that you were both wrestling, you're willing to admit that most likely you initiated that. Again, I go to Keke Palmer and I go to the dude that she was with, that she is still technically with, but he got away from her, where she initiated that bullshit, but she went and put those steals out to make him look bad. When, let's be real, she's the one out of pocket. Fuck her connections. As the father of her child, and they were together, it wasn't like she was on her own. I don't give a fuck about what was doing. Did not stop. Press 1 if you can hear me clearly. Press 1 if you can hear me clearly. Okay, more people other than J-Bay. Okay. So yeah, like this dude went to the fucking Air Force to get the fuck away from her. So clearly whatever the fuck she was doing wasn't worth a damn. And again, you can count that in the category of I wanted the baby, but I didn't want the man. And if the man's gonna be here, the man is gonna have control. They don't let white women do that shit. And that shit needs to be fucked. Men need to start calling that shit out, because we're getting like dead. Like that dude had every right to get mad at her for doing that. It don't matter what rank he is. The reality is Usher had a sexually transmitted disease. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. My personal opinion on that is I don't give a fuck if you can get rid of it. Once you have it, you have it. Like once you have it, you're tainted. I don't want to fuck with you. I'm just gonna say it just like that. And for you to sit here and then again, for you to sit here and do that with Usher, that's why I'm hella suspect on her with Trey Songz, because it's like it's like you were flirting like that with Usher, but when you want to break it off, you want to break it off. And every dude ain't gonna be like that with you. You playing in people's faces, And so because Keke Palmer don't got the money DDG got. So again, going back with Haley, all this bullshit that she's doing, my point is what she's doing is wrong. And class doesn't justify it. And it all sounds like it's a justification. Why? So if we're saying that he shouldn't, she thinks she's beneath him. Okay, what about Diddy's son then? What, because Diddy's son is Diddy's son, then it's less likely she will pull that bullshit? Let's look at Angela Simmons. These women, there's something wrong with these females. And just because they want, let's keep it real. Even when they're dealing with dudes in their same class, they still act up. They still wild out. It ain't like they doing what the fuck they supposed to be doing, because now, yes, I have a man in my class. They don't. They do the same shit. For example, the list, Tyrese. And so if you're dealing with normal and you're looking at that, then sure, I agree with that. But when you start to deal with fame, like now, Sexy Red is in a different class because she's being put in all these people. She's still who she is. That's hood rich. And these bitches are gonna pick what they pick. Cause they all picking the same niggas. If you notice that. These chicks are not having kids with people based on class. They're not. Now what these NBA players are doing is something different entirely. That's an entire different level of goofiness. So my thing is that she's pretty much operating on matriarchal rules. And at the end of the day, if the answer is, well, he shouldn't have had a kid with her because they're not in the same class, I can understand that. I can understand that advice, and I think that's valuable advice, that you have to consider that. You, even outside, you have to consider that. But DDG is kind of in a unique position to where the only difference between her and him is she got a couple of connections. That's it. Because she was a Diddy kid. And Sky Jackson was the name that I forgot about. And Sky Jackson is in a class, but look who the fuck she's having kids with. Now, if we want to add in that they're committing class suicide, fine. If we want to add all that stuff in there, fine. But at the end of the day, man, Halle Bailey chose to have a kid with him. I don't personally believe that Halle Bailey believes she's better than him, because she's not acting like she's better than him. And if she thinks, like, first of all, let's be very clear here. Halle Bailey is better than DDG. Let's be very clear here. And let's be very clear here, I don't give a fuck about what class she's in. She has yet to demonstrate that she's able to date niggas in her class. I don't give a fuck about potential. People can have potential and not rise to it. She has yet to demonstrate that she can actually have a real relationship she has yet to have a relationship that's known. And if it's not known, then that means she's just getting fucked. Let's just call that what that really is. Because if she really had real relationships with dudes, she wouldn't have had a kid with the dude that was supposedly not in her class. So I can take that educated guess. And basically say that she hasn't had true solid relationships with niggas that are quote unquote in her class. Because had she had those, she would not have believed it was a good idea to have a kid with a nigga, because that's going to mess up her ability to secure those relationships later on. Halle Bailey ain't that fucking fine. Halle Bailey it ain't like she can change a nigga's life. Because anybody that she can change their life is people that are not really at her level. Because her level ain't that high. And no, the Bailey sisters are not world famous like that. They aren't. And so at the end of the day, man, like, really, the reason why, I had kind of an issue is because essentially, folks are trying to say DDG is a fucking nobody. That's essentially the kind of energy, the kind of perspective I was getting. He's a fucking nobody, so he should just take what the fuck he gonna get because she's on this high castle. At the end of the fucking day, if that was true, she wouldn't have had a kid with him. And so so at the end of the day, all these connections, because when we're talking about black women have yet to demonstrate they can use these fucking connections for their own fucking benefit. That's the reality of the situation. Why isn't Halle Bailey in this Ryan Coogler movie Sinners? Her being in fucking Color Purple, we see how that performed. That was a throwaway. She was a supporting character in a throwaway movie, which, by the way, should have told me what type of time she was on. The fact she would even be in that movie. The fact that she even reveres a movie like that should have told me what type of time she's on. And all that beneath me bullshit, that's why black women stay having relationship problems in the first place. Like I'm just gonna say she's not. The only difference between her, let's keep it all the way real. The only difference between her and DDG is DDG having a legit record deal. And DDG being on television. That's really the only difference. That's the difference. Hollywood connections. And her Hollywood connections don't even got her at $5 million, $5 million net worth. Not $5 million a year. The main money, like literally, I'm like, where the fuck is her Disney money at? Basically, the only money she really got is the money she got. Obviously, her Disney money is there, but most of it is the money she got from that Little Mermaid deal, that $1.5 million. Chloe, the Google, won't even say how much money she got, which means they ain't got no significant net worth like that. And so them connections don't mean shit. Oh, well, she could find a boy that is a certain class. If them dudes ain't got money, it don't mean shit. Because then it's like, okay, what can they do for her? That's how I look at it. And fuck DDG for a second. Like Lori Harvey. Let's take Lori Harvey for example. Lori Harvey, because let's keep it real. Lori Harvey is the stepdaughter of Steve Harvey. That's number one. Number two, Marjorie don't come from a certain class. Not saying nobody said they did. I'm just saying that she don't. Her tie is to Steve. Without Steve, she's just a bitch that fucked 2 drug dealers. Especially at her age now. So obviously, Lori Harvey gets the benefit of a Nepo baby more so than his own real kids, by the way, because of that. Cool. She's dated a lot of different dudes. The top dudes, in my opinion, she dated was Michael B. Jordan, and Richard Hamilton. Those are the 2 top dudes. Richard Hamilton is on a global stage. And she's fumbled both of them. She fumbled them. Lori Harvey, the difference between Lori Harvey and Haley Bailey is Haley Bailey can make money for herself because of her acting career and potentially her music career. But the reality is we've seen enough women come and go. Her fans, number one, she's not making music her fans want to hear. That's number one. Number two, she is yet to demonstrate that she can actually take the audience she has and turn that into something. She is yet to deal with that. For instance, the Riri Williams, I haven't seen that trailer. I may look at the trailer, but I doubt I'm going to see it. But let's keep it real. That Riri Williams show, that should be a show she should have did. That should have been a show Haley Bailey should. These are roles she should have got. She's not getting these roles. So just like how Haley Steinfeld has been in roles, but this center role may be one of her breakout roles. Now she's with Josh Allen, which quote unquote would be in her class, but Haley Bailey, so at the end of the day, it's just like with that nigga that plays Miles Morales, the voice of Miles Morales. He out here looking goofy as hell because he's at a certain level because he's Spider-Man. You voice Miles Morales. And so ultimately, potential don't fuck potential. If you have not demonstrated that you can even leverage it any kind of real way, Zion Williamson got crazy potential. Look at what the fuck he's doing. And so ultimately, DDG was the best she could get. So whether she thinks she better than him or not, the fact that she had a child with him pretty much told the tale. That's the tale. Well, I could do better. Well, bitch, why didn't you? In fact, why didn't your sister do better? Your sister dated Gunner. Your sister, which let's keep it real, Gunner ain't really a top tier rapper like that. And that wasn't even a real relationship. Your sister dated Burner Boy. He's not known. He's in Nigeria. Let's not play that class game with that. So I'm talking specifically about this situation. And ultimately, they can believe what they better than all day, every day. She can believe that. That don't mean shit. And yeah, Michelle do believe she better than her Barack, which is why she keep talking shit about him. And Michelle is way more known, like the gap between them is way less than than DDG and Haley. Haley, like, honestly, DDG is legit a reality show away. DDG is legit a reality fucking show away from, the only difference is, like, okay, in Europe, Halle Bailey is not known like that. She's not. Because they didn't, all them Disney kids are not known like that. Not like that. Hell, everybody don't even know who the fuck Sabrina Carpenter is. And Sabrina Carpenter was way more pushed. And I'll give you an example. One of the reasons why I'm harping about this is because I think about women like Lindsay Lohan, who, by the way, was way more famous than Halle Bailey was, and was at this point. I think of women like Amanda Bynes, who I would say got to basically where Halle Bailey is, and these chicks have completely crashed out. Even if you look at an Iggy Azalea is being pushed. Hell, fucking Tyler is, in my opinion, Tyler might be globally more known than Halle Bailey. So when you really like, nobody really knows who Scott Jackson is outside of if you watched her shows and shit. Just because everybody don't know who these bitches are. Like, seriously. Like everybody don't know. Just they with Disney don't mean they just know. The same thing with Nickelodeon. These people come and go. They cycle them out. Just like, it's like saying, well, I'm in the NBA. Even if you're in the top 30% of the NBA and you're getting a promotion, does not mean that everybody knows who you are. And so a lot of this is, you know, and people want to shit on social media, be like, that shit don't matter. Well, once upon a time, reality TV didn't matter. And I'm not saying, you know, so at the end of the day, nobody told her to have a kid with this nigga. If the advice ultimately would have been that he should have thought twice about having a kid with her because of potential problems, then yeah, I absolutely, because of class, and this is a higher, even with his money, this is a higher likelihood to be a problem because he's not connected like that in Hollywood. And there would be that power dynamic that she might feel she can exercise, then yeah, I can agree with that. That I absolutely can agree with. I can agree with that, and then the Octane speaks on that. I agree with that. And that's kind of what I think ultimately he's saying, is that he probably wouldn't have recommended, based on his Octane system, that DDG not have a kid with her. Fuck her, deal with her, but you don't want to create a situation like what he's in, where you got a kid involved and she can leverage that, because it's a higher likelihood that she's gonna think she's better than him. Do I believe DDG would have heeded that advice? No, he wouldn't have. And does that mean that L kind of belongs to him on that? Because now he's in a situation, it's like he's in a situation that's like a no-win situation, like, you know, based on how he makes his money. Yeah, so that I can agree with, and that's ultimately what I think was trying to be communicated. Ultimately, what BGS was trying to communicate is that pay attention to who, like, the class element, because even if they fucking you, they gonna have a kid with you. And DDG is kind of a unique position to where DDG, it's like he makes more money than her, so she could put him on child support, because that's like the one thing she hasn't done. But see, one reason why I think is because most people assume she's worth more than him, and that will come out that that's not true, and she'll definitely look like a broke ass baby mama if she puts him on child support. Because now, if she's putting him on child support, and then all of a sudden you trying to dictate that he can't see the kid, see, that creates problems. Well, Tory and DDG are two different situations, because Tory and DDG, Tory is bigger than Megan Thee Stallion, but we'll just say they're in the same class, so that's a different situation. That's a different situation. And Haley, I agree with Jada Black. Is Haley is a lot more image conscious than Megan. Don't care. Megan is pretty much a Texas drunkard hoe, not Texas in a good way, but because black women have a generally decent reputation as far as women that come out of Texas, Houston in particular. I get the HIV rates and stuff, but And make sure y'all hit up that Cash App. But ultimately, yeah, Megan was obvious. And the Tory Lanez situation, at the end of the day, Tory made a decision to not snitch, to not, I guess, in his mind, tell on Kelsey. That's on him. Me personally, I would sue Def Jam if he gets out. And I know they know that's coming. But we'll see how that story unfolds. But as far as DDG, you know, I can more reasonably understand why he wouldn't have thought that she would do all this. But this is why that kind of information needs to be out there. But ultimately she had a kid with him because she liked him. And all of that she thinks she better, she ain't. Because my thing is, with all this class bullshit you got, the fact that, like, DDG was the best. This is one of the real kind of, this is the disagreement that we really have. DDG is the best that Halle Bailey can do. At that moment, DDG is the best that Halle Bailey can do. Now, people can not believe that because of quote-unquote class. Well, my thing is, DDG is the top dude she's dated up to this point. And she's 24 years old. So, the potential can be all day, every day. But guess what? This is where we are. This is where we are. Just like Zion got the potential to be the face of the NBA. We are where we are. And her sister, who's adjacent to her, has truth be told, she hasn't done better than DDG. Burner Boy don't make more money than DDG. I don't, maybe Gunner might have the kind of money DDG got. And none of them even took her seriously. He said they ratchet here too. Okay. I stand corrected. Stack 7 Star like, yo man, I don't need to correct you, but the truth gonna be told. Alright, man. I stand corrected. There's a reason why I'm saying what I say, because you got Beyonce. I'm not even gonna go into that. I mean, so it's kind of like everybody's saying, and my thing is, what I don't like about how, I just don't like how a lot, and I ain't talking BGS, I don't like how universally a lot of black men are like shitting on this dude. They don't know who this dude is. And maybe I need to do another video. I may try to experiment with like a legit, like, traditional commentary video where I actually do editing up and really like do my research. But I need to research, like, see if there is a video about DDG. I'm surprised the commentary people ain't really talked about it. You may eventually, with the guys that like Jay Prince or dudes that do commentary videos, you may see somebody do a commentary video on DDG, because the thing about it is his name is getting out there, at least on social media buzz, because of this situation. Because truth be told, this was on Bing's like most supported list. This was on Bing's most this was on Bing's, let me look at my wallet. This was on Bing's most supported list. So eventually you gonna see. As far as but because I mean, yeah, she's got more earning potential than he does. But like I said, unless she gets like a breakout role, I mean, I don't know. Because it looked like, you know, they have yet to really transition into, okay, making this work. They have yet to do that. Like, really, her sister, anyway, I'm not even going to go back and forth into that, but you may see, I got to look, because you may see that video come out, because one of these dudes I typically look at to do commentary stuff, not the Turkey Tom dude, but the dudes that do more hip-hop stuff, you may see that shit, but I wouldn't be surprised. So, anyway, but like I said, man, you know, I get that part. And that's an interesting conversation as far as shit he had a kid with her. Because, yeah, dudes do need to be very strategic about that. And, yeah, I do think the octane stuff is a great factor. Also, check out that video, like I said before, with BGS just launched it. I'll share it, talking about, you know, being in the benefits of a friend zone in 100 octane. Yeah, what's up, Joe? What's up, Eric Burst? I can starve. Dirt bike. The institution gives them their status is no longer respected. DDG played himself. Brutal honesty. I can't believe she even had a baby and I've been married her when they broke up. To me, then I thought he maybe was thinking he could do better than her did her. I mean, at the end of the day, I do believe he can. I do believe he can bag. Like, it's just like Joe Budden. Like, Joe Budden stay getting chicks. I definitely believe he can get I mean, if he got Haley Bailey, I could definitely believe he could have got a Sky Jackson. I definitely believe like at that level, like I definitely believe he could do that. Because again, what doesn't get talked about is these women. Like, see, we're talking about how outsiders are looking at it. A lot of these streamers are respected with these people. Like for instance, I made a statement saying that Angel Reese would have dated DDG. Like, a lot of these chicks do be respecting these streamers. They're not all of them. Like Castanot, is an ugly nigga. Let's just call that what it is. DDG ain't that. And see, a lot of it is because they're a streamer. It's like, oh, well, you're not really famous. That's kind of how it's being presented. You're not really that dude because you're a streamer. And these women, look, that's not how that goes. Like, because a lot of these, you gotta remember, Angel Reese is getting paid with endorsements, but she ain't even get paid. A lot of these chicks want to be internet stars. So it's like, and again, I'm not gonna keep on explaining that. You either get that or you don't. I may need to do a list in like the top 20, 25, do a list of the top dude streamers, what they're making, comparison stuff. Maybe that's something that needs to be done. But ultimately, inside baseball, these dudes are more known than what you think they are. Even because people know how much money they're getting, and a lot of these stars are not getting paid like some of these streamers are getting paid. They're not getting paid like that, and so they're tough, and they got these fucking connections. But a lot of these motherfuckers are just in Hollywood. They're not really getting it like that. They not. Like, people found out Taraji, for all these movies Taraji be getting paid like $250,000 per flick. And it's like, okay, you known, but. And another thing too is, fuck it. Being known as a black man has its own issue, because that makes you a target. That's why you see dudes like fucking Shannon Sharp jumping back and forth between ESPN and shit. So, it's more complicated than what that is. But at the end of the day, like I said, I don't know why, it is what it is. But anyway, y'all, I just wanted to come back and kind of finish that. Appreciate it. And, like I said, we'll see. I got to put out more content anyway. And with that being said, this is Edward, signing off. Peace.